Well, Omer Bartov is a professor of Holocaust and genocide studies at Brown University. He joins us now live from Cambridge, Massachusetts. Welcome to TRT World. Professor Bartov, thank you for joining us. Now, you are one of the world's leading genocide scholars. Can the war on Gaza be classified as a genocide officially now that we are on day 86 of the war?
Thank you for having me, first of all. This is a complex question. Genocide is a crime that is very hard to identify when it's happening. We've been watching this going on for a long time now. My own sense is that what we're seeing at the moment is a massive displacement of population, which can be seen, if it is not reversed, as ethnic cleansing, since large numbers of people, in fact, 85% of the population have been displaced, and a large part of their homes have been demolished. If those people are allowed back, and if there's an undertaking, which will have to be an international undertaking, to reconstruct their homes, to rebuild, then that would be one thing. If, as we're hearing now from various government officials in Israel, the idea is to encourage them to leave, that is to push them out of Gaza, then this could be ethnic cleansing, which is a step toward genocide. So I think a lot of this depends on where we are heading right now.
Okay, so officially right now, just to be clear, it's not genocide and it's not ethnic cleansing right now on day 86 of the war on Gaza, but it could be in the future.
Yeah, look, I mean, ethnic cleansing is actually not clearly defined under international law, but massive displacement of population is, and it can come under crimes against humanity, and it can also become genocide. So the displacement has taken place. The question is whether it is a clear policy to remove the population from Gaza, or it's a result of a war which has certainly entailed what appears to be war crimes and potentially crimes against humanity. Whether we identify that eventually as genocide or not, I think depends more on future actions than only looking at past actions.
Now, Professor, we have just heard from the Israeli military saying that this war on Gaza, the fighting could go on throughout 2024. Where do you see this going with regards to genocide and ethnic cleansing?
Well, so this is really the main question. And the Israeli government has been speaking somewhat from two sides of its mouth. On the one hand, it's been saying that the war will continue with great intensity. On the other hand, in fact, there are reports today and yesterday that large parts of the reserve forces that have been employed in Gaza, reserve forces of the IDF, are being now sent back, partly because the economy cannot sustain so many reservists being under arms, and partly because the presence of so many troops in a very congested area means that they sustain a growing number of casualties. They're simply more exposed as they're stationary there. And so my sense is that the Israeli army is actually moving to a phase 3. Now, what that phase 3 would look like is a bit difficult to tell, but the idea is that they would have more targeted operations against Hamas militants and the Hamas leadership, but have a lesser presence on the ground. I'm not sure that they can succeed in doing it, and I'm hoping that the international pressure that is growing, and especially American pressure, will change that to a situation where there would first be a ceasefire, and that would be followed by an end to the hostilities and a political scenario, a political horizon to resolve this conflict in a more substantial manner, not simply just to stop fire for a while.
Professor, just very briefly, we know South Africa this week filed a case at the International Court of Justice accusing Israel of genocidal acts in Gaza. How easy will it be to prove genocide? And as you said in your first question, it's hard to identify genocide when it's happening. And just where does this leave South Africa's case?
Well, it's hard to say because genocide, as you know, calls for two things: for intent, for showing that there is an intent, and then for policies that lead to the destruction of a particular group as such, in whole or in part. I think that the move by South Africa is a good move. First of all, because it would then mean that an international, respected international body would adjudicate, are we seeing genocide or not? And secondly, because it would put pressure on the United States, which is the main player here, and on Israel to change policy so as to make sure that this does not become genocide. So I actually welcome this move, whether the International Court of Justice defines it as genocide or not.
Professor, thank you so much for speaking to us today here on TRT World. That was Professor Omer Bartov speaking to us from Brown University in Rhode Island. Thank you.